Hello, BookTube, and we're back again with the live, our Friday live, and we're just we thought I'd just come on a ninja live, I suppose. Hello, Spectre, and you're halfway through Dune Messiah reread. Yeah, that's cool. I've got to reread that. I was going to do that this year, but I think possibly next year. And I don't know why. Every time I go live, I get a notification saying I've gone live. It's not very helpful.
Well, maybe you want to watch yourself.
Let's just turn off the things here. Just a minute. Get this correctly. There we go. Put it on vibrate.
Hi, Tim.
Tim. Oh, there's 5 here already. That's not too bad.
That's good. Has it dropped? The moment usually when you say there's 5 people, it suddenly drops to like 3 or.
Yeah, but it went up to 6 as soon as I said.
Oh wow! 5. Hey, right.
So, how's the plague ridden? How are you? How's the plague going with you?
The plague. Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I'm back. I've been back at work all week. Been struggling a bit with my voice because, of course, my voice is my fortune, right? As an English conversation teacher, but it's not going too badly. Apart from the fatigue. I mean, when I work a day, it feels like I've worked a week. So it's like, I did 4 days working this week, so it felt like I'd worked 4 weeks. So yeah, but I'm doing good. Hey, Scott, or Becky, or Becky.
Yeah. Aaron.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah. Well, as Mark was saying, that he's on the mend, and I hope I am. I'm still struggling with the really down part with the long COVID, and I commiserate with you for the tiredness.
Yeah, I'm still like drinking Lemsip before bed and sucking on a throat sweet, but yeah, so we'll get there. Hi, Dave. Good to see you.
Yeah, I'm actually feeling okay at the moment. Like, that's the thing. I get these periods where I'm okay, and all I've been doing, I've been dozing most of the time, and I've been rewatching a series actually on Prime that I like, and I sort of doze through it, but I don't sleep, so I can still hear what's going on, and I've watched it a few times, so I sort of doze through a couple episodes, but I know what's happened.
I hope it's not the same series I've been watching on Prime.
I've been watching Dead Like Me.
Oh, okay, no, it's not the same one then. I was watching the Vampire Diaries, which is a real teenage program, and it's funny that I quite like the concept like of the vampires. I'm always fascinated by the immortality of vampires, and I've always thought if I wanted to be a vampire, I want to be one that was born like 600 years ago and living today, to have that experience behind me rather than being a new one that turns today. So I like this kind of aspect of the whole teenage angst that goes with watching something like the Vampire Diaries is just ridiculous, especially when you watch it in bulk, because I'm sure if you watch it as it's released each week, you don't notice it. But when you watch it like all the episodes together, the number of times they have to apologize to each other, the two love interests, because, something goes wrong and he kills somebody or, eats her mother or something, it's like it just becomes a bit ridiculous. I'm enjoying it, but it is definitely for teenagers. Not
Dead Like Me.
Well,
there's immortals there because they're the undead. They're Grim Reapers. So, but it was a series that was never completed. It was 2 seasons, and it was cut, and then they made a god awful movie maybe a decade later. Just really bad. But it was weird because I was looking to see what happened to a couple of the actors and actresses, and one of them, there's the main actress, like it's just, I think she's in her 40s now, but she was in her 20s then, and there was her younger sister is like 11 years old, and her younger sister is like 35 now or something like that, and you're going, what the fuck? You know, it just, time just yeah, it's amazing how it just goes a blink of an eye.
Hey, Sonia. I'm always feeling guilty at the moment with poor old Sonia because we're supposed to be reading. I know she says it's okay, but we're supposed to be reading 100 Years of Solitude, and I've been the worst buddy for a buddy read this month. So,
Oh crikey, I'm way behind on everything. I haven't done the Wuthering Heights, Let the Right One In, Middlemarch. It just goes on and on. I'm still working my way through Sense and Sensibility. Watching TV about the undead whilst fighting off the Grim Reaper.
what would the COVID version of that be? Nonsense and insensibility.
Well, I like Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. The movie was hilarious.
Oh, thanks, Sonia. Yeah, I mean, as I said, it is a reread, so I'm definitely. Please keep your updates coming in. I do enjoy listening to them, and I'll chip in, where I can. So, yeah.
Talking about that, because we're both in, we're doing New Worlds November this year, and it's been quite a active group that we've got there, and talking about some interesting things. I don't know if Scott's still on here. I wonder if he'd be wanting to come on, and we can have a little chat about it. It would be science fiction centered, but it's bigger than that. It's just about genre fiction, and with science fiction. Still, you're still here. So would you be up to coming on?
I don't know if his internet will hack it.
Could always try. I'm just trying to see if I can get the link to send to him, and while I sort of babble.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a very active group, and it's been very interesting. I mean, I just laugh that I haven't made my video yet, actually. I need to do that. My announcement video, a bit late, but it just makes me laugh that I'm, co-hosting something to do with science fiction, whereas I'm like almost a virgin, science fiction virgin.
Yeah, I still haven't got my TBR yet, because I did a video for it, but barely. And also there's Hal for the Holidays as well, which coincides with that, and for December and January. Yeah, so no, that's fine, Scott. Yeah, I forget the time thing, because it's what is it, 3:30 for you there? Eye to the Dog, and that's Elvis.
That one. No, that one. Okay. Yeah. He's very picky about which one. He changes all the time. It's like me with my books, chops and changes.
Where was I? Was I saying anything?
New Worlds November, and how active it is.
Yeah, New and Hal for the Holidays. Yeah. I'm still sort of it's just going to be, if nobody or if people haven't seen it and they're interested in science fiction, it's definitely worth looking at, because it's headed up by the Bookish Bryants, and it's a fabulous way of getting into science fiction. Hence, Mark is doing this because it's a short form science fiction, short stories, and it's a great way to get into it, if you've been interested in it. So, and there's several announcement videos that have been done so far. I think there's a few still yet to come, but yeah. But yeah, I haven't done my TBR, but it's different this year because there's a lot of sub themes. The first week is terrestrial, so anything that's on Earth, and then extraterrestrial is the second week, and third week is classic science fiction, and just somehow it happens to be pre-65, right in my wheelhouse. But that was because of the new wave. We could have actually included 1965, to be honest, for that. But the interesting thing is we do this, and it's called New Worlds November. New Worlds, and New Worlds magazine was the magazine that really put the new wave science fiction on the map. So yeah, Spectre, you're reading a spooky season history and Tolkien reading plans.
But what's what is the dominant? If you're really looking at what's popular today, is it the new age science fiction, or is it just dinosaurs like you and whatever clinging on to the pre-1965 stuff? Because I'm just curious, because if you look at science fiction readers, I wonder what the demographic is. Like, if they're really young people who are bolstering science fiction as a popular genre, then they will be going for, you would think, the newer stuff, of course, because it appeals to them. Or is it, the older generation who are clinging to what they love best? I mean, do you have any idea?
Yeah, well, the thing is, there is no sort of new wave anymore. It sort of got
gone full circle, or what?
Not full circle so much. It mostly went into it had its heyday from about 65, 66 to the late 70s, and there was so much experimental science fiction. It had started before that, but then it sort of gradually petered away and just melded together, and the good from that sort of went into normal science fiction. So there was just a blip for about 10 years or a dozen years that had very different stuff.
Yeah.
And then that material, just like I say, the good parts of it, I think, and some bad, or it depends on your viewpoint, just sort of got absorbed. That's the word I'm thinking of. Absorbed into the milieu of science fiction. And then then there was another new wave of stuff, but I'm not using new wave in the same sense, but another wave in the early 80s of cyberpunk, and then
it's quite a broad, it does encompass a lot. I mean, when you look at the sub genres or subcategories that Scott and Becky put out, that's a lot of stuff. It's 13 of them, and there's probably even a lot more. You could probably have at least a couple of dozen more. By the way, I just want to say, Tim, I'm glad to see you joining in Raiding Project Gutenberg, because that's another thing I'm co-hosting as well, and I'm hoping really to find at least a couple of things that will cross both those spheres. But it's very interesting. I mean, it's because invasion fiction, is science fiction, like alternate history invasion. The early Victorian invasion fiction is like a precursor to science fiction, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's a little difficult to sometimes. We've sort of talked about this before, of where the term science fiction was. It actually started in the late 1700s. That term science fiction was used, but it was
1700s.
Yeah, late 1700s, early 1800s. I can't remember now the exact date, but there's a poem that has it in. But it never really stuck. And I don't know if Hugo Gernsback, because he started, he was publishing electronic magazines in the teens, and he would have these scientific stories in, and there were other magazines that published this stuff. Like there was dozens of the pulp magazines. They weren't sort of so much genre magazines at that time. They were sort of just popular fiction magazines, and they would have science fiction, or what we would call science fiction, in them. But in 1926, he decided to start a magazine specifically for what he called scientific action. Scientific action. It's even hard to say. It didn't take on too much, but then when he got kicked out of running everything, he didn't use that name, so he started using science fiction. But
Yeah.
he made guidelines of what to write, and that's and the long of this is, or the short is, that when he codified and said this is what science fiction is, people started writing within that framework. And so when you put that framework for older stuff, they weren't writing in that framework because that framework wasn't around.
Mm-hmm.
So it is difficult to put that term onto something older. Hence, a lot of people use the term scientific romances, futurism, that type of thing. But a lot of people feel that within that box, within that criteria, H.G. Wells was one of the first that really fit within that box before that box was created, and that's with the Time Machine.
Although I have to say, I think When the World Shook probably predates the Time Machine.
Yes, yeah, it does, yeah. But
Because they said, because when I was reading about it, it's like, well, you know, Haggard wrote this book that didn't have really a space to fit it in when he wrote it, you know. Because but again, it crosses that line that happens a lot with the older stuff between fantasy and science fiction, what we call today, perhaps.
Yeah, and other genre, like Frankenstein has been by many considered the first true science fiction novel, because it's creating it's got the gothic aspect to it, but somehow it's veered into horror. But Joseph D here asks, do I plan on reading any Simac stories for New Worlds November, or wait till next year for a complete books event? I will be reading a few things. I have a couple things in mind. I sort of jokingly thought that what I would try to do, which I could do everything all Simac for the whole month, but I thought, well, maybe not. But I will get a few that hit one of the themes, or maybe several themes, but then a lot of the sub themes.
I have a couple of I'm not going to say my TBR, but things I've been thinking about, although I'm not sure. I think a lot of them are mostly novels rather than short stories, but they seem quite interesting, some of them. I'm just curious how many of them you know. I'd imagine you know a few of them, but some of them might be quite new for you. The Carpet Makers.
Carpet Makers. That sounds familiar. Yeah.
Andreas Eschbach. It's a German one.
Yeah.
And then I got a Japanese one that it says very good. 10 Billion Days and 10 Billion Nights.
Not familiar with that one.
Okay. I think there's one here that Gareth mentioned, actually, Roadside Picnic by Arkady and Boris.
Oh yeah. That'll be newer-ish stuff.
Nest of Worlds by Marek S. But these are all translated, by the way. Yeah. Marek S. Hubarat. No. Sure. I got this one because I saw the film by Komatsu Sakyo, Japan Sinks. It's about the sinking of Japan. Then there's the Day of the Oprichnik, which is a Russian one, which looks pretty interesting. And that's quite short, so that might be all right. And then there's one. What's this one?
I'm not sure what Tim means here about that. You're still young. You're in your 60s. I'm not sure where that comes up for.
Because Dave said he's an old fart in his 50s.
Oh, okay. I sort of missed that, I guess.
And that's Dave saying it, not me.
Classic. Oh, did I actually put that one up? I might have missed that one.
I might have done.
Yeah, so let's put it up. I must admit that I'm an old fart in my mid 50s and stuff. Classic XF. Yeah, well, that's basically how I feel as well with stuff, and yeah, but it just, well, there's a lot of thoughts here to go through, but the translated stuff is kind of interesting because until recently, and I mean in the last 30, 40 years, there hasn't been a whole lot of translated science fiction. There's only been a little bit of that. And there's been a few people, there's been a few collections for that they've translated non-English stuff like French, but it's there is some interesting stuff coming out now. There's a collection of Chinese, I think, science fiction that's a translated one, and it's not all new stuff, I don't think, either. So that I'd be interested in something like that. Sean, do you think of Lovecraft as more science fiction writer and horror writer? I think for the most part horror, but he did do a lot of science fiction, and I need to re-look at Lovecraft because I have in no way ever read everything that he's done. So I do need to revisit him at some point. He is on my list of authors to revisit.
Not on Shelley's list, though. Was it Shelley? Somebody recently, when they did the list of authors they wouldn't read, mention Lovecraft.
Oh, do you want to get into that?
Well, I can't remember who it was. Was it? I don't
know. Scott said he's 47, 80% of what I read is at least 50 years old. Yeah, that's the thing. It's the same as me. I'm in my late 50s. I'm sorry, I have to add this up here because my brain's not working. I'm in my late 50s. Let's just put it that way.
Hey, Carrie.
Yeah.
Great to see you. Well, you know what I mean. Oh, you got a new member, Sean.
Yeah, I see that star. Oh, yeah, star. I guess is it Stars Hot or Stars Shot? You could read that either way. I never was quite sure when I see your how that was, but thank you very much for becoming a member.
It carries another one as dodgy internet. Must be something to do with when you go south of the
Mason-Dixon.
Mason-Dixon, is it? Is that right? Yeah, because I mean, yeah, she's in the south, I suppose. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, the Scott here says The Color Out of Space is a good science fiction story with a lot of horror element. Yeah, that's the thing. I do need to reevaluate Lovecraft. But yeah, getting back, well, there's lots of threads there that we sort of dropped, but the thing about not reading certain authors, and that really sort of has infuriated me to a certain a bit, because how can you know you won't read somebody unless you've at least tried them? And when you rely on just solely other people's opinion, that's a dangerous road to go down, in my opinion.
It's very true. I mean, I had a preconceived opinion over what's her name, Jane Austen. I never would have thought I would have picked up Pride and Prejudice and read it, and I did, and it just showed how wrong I was. So, you know, I think it's wrong to write people off because of hearsay or whatnot. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, yeah. So it's Star Shot, and well, thank you. And he's using uh, Melié's Voyage to the Moon.
Is it? I can't see that very. Oh yeah, yeah,
It's the
yeah. I
moon with
see it
the
now.
in the eye.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. No, I think you're right, Carrie. But it just depends where you are. Here in rural areas, it's not too bad. But we're much smaller. Our rural areas, I suppose. You don't have to be miles and miles from anywhere. So.
Science fiction has been getting popular among younger people through many of the movies that have come out recently. My 27-year-old daughter has gotten into dystopian books. Yeah, we were just in a group. We were sort of mentioning that a little bit about YA seems to be. There was a series that I finally watched the final series of it, or the season. It's called The 100. It I enjoyed it to a certain extent, but it frustrated me so much because this typifies what, and somebody may correct me because I have not read a lot of YA. I've looked at it, but in the YA science fiction, and you mentioned this with the vampire one, Mark, where people do bad things in the story to each other, but then there's a redemption, and it just happens over and over and over again. And it reminds me of Lost in Space with Mr. Smith, that they should have spaced that fucker long ago. They should have just spaced them. Get rid of these people. But no, in the YA thing, it's redemption and you forgive. And then they do it the same again and they kill a whole bunch of their friends. Oh, but they bring him back into the fold. That infuriates me, because people don't do that. Anyway, rant over.
No, you're quite right. To be
Oh,
honest, you're quite right.
thanks. Wow. Thank you, Scott, for super sticker. I'm still trying to figure out what those are.
I read it as a super stinker. I tell you, I had to get new glasses. You saw the pic? Did you see the picture? I thought was Michael K. Vaughan earlier, and I wasn't joking. When
Oh,
they said no, I did because I didn't have my glasses on, and I was literally going through it, and I thought, oh, Michael looks different. He normally dresses up. He's dressed down on this because he was saying that there's something funny about his video, and I thought that was him. It wasn't. So no, that wasn't a joke. Maybe I got like COVID eyes, if that's something.
Yeah, well, I don't know if my eyesight has deteriorated from it. That's the one thing that hasn't. every other bit of my body has, brain and everything, taste, and just there's nothing there. Touch even it's changed, and yeah.
Oh, I was at the dentist today. Well, the hygienist, and I felt awful when you talk about touch, because she was trying to show me something or do something in my mouth, and she told me to open it, and she had a finger there, and I couldn't see, of course, her finger. I had to rely on touch, and I couldn't feel it, and I must have like relaxed my jaw, and I just kind of started to bite down on her, but I didn't realize it. And bless her, she doesn't speak much English, really, and she just came out with the phrase, "Please don't bite me." I felt so awful because I was like, "Oh my god, I had no idea your finger was in my mouth." And it was just weird because I hadn't had any anesthetic or anything. I wasn't numbed. I just didn't. She had like the rubber glove on and stuff, but I just didn't feel it was there. Maybe because she was doing other things, but it was just so cute though. She was like, "Please don't bite me," and I was like, oh, "So sorry."
Like the thing is, since you've had COVID, it's like anything that happens to me now that has never happened before, I blame it on COVID because there's a good chance it has screwed something up.
It's kind of cool though if you want to get away with some things, maybe. It's like I could walk into a shop and be like, "I'll have that." Oh, I never stole in my life. It's COVID.
Well, that's what I say when I say something. Well, it's the mental thing, the cognitive. thing, because I'll be going on and you'll say something, and almost as you're saying it, you know that there's something wrong with what you're saying, that it's not right. But it's until it's after out of your mouth, if you can actually get it out, then you sort of realize that's not right.
You just got
And
me
it's just
thinking.
the brain, it's working on several different levels.
You've got me thinking though. If I end up going down the same route, I'm just gonna wonder how painful these lives are gonna be for people watching the two of us try to struggle to communicate. So be like, what's the word? What word? About what? I don't know. What's
But no, it's not fun. It's not fun, that's for sure. You make jokes of it, or I make jokes of it, because there's nothing else you can do.
what can you do about that kind of thing? Exactly. You know.
But yeah, dystopian books. I mean, young YA dystopian stuff. I don't know, or just YA. I think general. I guess nobody has contradicted me on that kind of thing, so I guess that must be a common thing. Because you mentioned it in the, what is it, the Vampire Diaries? So
You
that's
know, you know, you're going to be checking that out later.
I don't think so. But I did with that 100, because I watched, I think see, it was, I was ill again, and I watched, and because I just wanted to watch something, just sort of sit there and going, while I had the main COVID thing. So I was watching stuff, and if it was science fiction, I'd watch it, unless I'd seen it before and didn't like it. So, oh, there we go. With me, COVID has made my daily migraines been worse, and screwed around with my mobility. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I get headaches occasionally for no reason at all. Thankfully, not migraine level. Just thankfully. Scott saying, I had a young lady approach me at the Books a Million last week and asked for some.
Hey, oh sorry.
It was kind of nice to see someone in their 20s or so.
Sean, you got to learn with punctuation. It was kind of nice to see someone in their 20s. You're gonna
that's the
man,
thing.
2 old men.
That's the other thing with the COVID. Like I've struggled to read stuff aloud. It's like I was doing some read alouds, and like the letters to Chesterfield letters. Like they're not the easiest sometimes to read cold, because he does have sprawling sentences, and it's because colons and semicolons and all this stuff to get the meaning across correctly. But other things that I was trying to read that was so simple like this, that I'd be stopping and look at the word last and don't know how to say it, don't know how to verbalize it. I know it in my brain, but I couldn't get it out. That's why I say it's like several layers in your brain. It's just it's really weird how that is.
I'm just curious, Scott, why she approached you. I mean, unless you worked there or something, but like, were you wearing a shirt, like a Trekkie shirt or something like that? And she just thought, I'm going to ask this guy to recommend science fiction to me.
Well, he was probably, I'm assuming, I assume.
Oh, yeah, you're probably in the section browsing. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And, somebody maybe has respect for somebody, an old man. Oops.
He's only 47, he said. Jesus. To be honest, I thought he was younger than me.
No, but what I mean is, to somebody in their 20s, somebody in their 40s is probably old.
Yeah, there you go. He was browsing.
Yeah, the number rule I think that's what it should be, is you screw up, out the damn airlock. That's the way it should be. I was looking at science fiction book browsing. Yeah. But that's the thing. It's like, Uh, well, I don't. I actually. Oh, see, this is where the COVID is. But is it stars? It's Star Shot, right? Yeah, it's Star Shot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have too many viewers, or in my in my 20s. I don't have too many subscribers in their 20s, as far as I know. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I don't have that many either. Actually, my biggest one, when you check the demographic thing,
Yeah.
my biggest is like the over 55s.
Mine, I think, is somewhere like that, 45 and up. I get
Over
it.
55 women. I mean, does make me feel good, I suppose. But it seems the over 55s female demographic is my target audience.
It's your voice. That's why.
Voice and rugged good looks, of course. I suppose if you're over 55 and I'm coming up to mid 40s, it's like kind of acceptable toy boy, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah, I'm not too young to be ridiculous.
But yeah, mine.
Hey,
I think 80% male and 20% female, according to the demographics.
Well, it's your voice as well, there, Sean. You see,
20% though.
You said 20% male and 80%.
No, 80% male and 20% female. If I said it the other way around,
it's COVID. But still, it might be your voice. You don't know what those males are like. They might find it very nice.
Could very well be. We get kind of everyone, I guess. Yeah. Well, yeah. You see, that's the thing. Couples will get younger and older. Like that would be my guess, and that really works.
Well, especially when you have such an age difference, like the Bookish Bryants. Where you got Scott in his what is he, mid 40s, and Becky in her late 20s. You're gonna go across that spectrum, aren't you?
Yeah, and then you get the sort of 20s, teens, 20s, and maybe early 30s females that you get our age is the highest demographic, it seems. I'm guessing, but I suspect.
You mean men our age are the ones who watch the younger females? You mean, or what?
Yeah. It does. 80-20 is sort of like a type of rule, I guess. Mine is about 50 and over. Us old farts tend to stick together. Yeah.
Well, I noticed. I think I was telling you when we're talking about Criminoli's channel, skyrocketing in terms of viewers. He's got over 10,000 now, and it's like in the space of a week. And I wondered if, again, what like his demographic would be, because there can't be. I feel sometimes the older the group that you appeal to, the less there probably are of them regular on YouTube viewers. I might be wrong. I mean, I'm just assuming that most absolute regular YouTube viewers, when you take globally, are going to be again. Oh, it's not very nice, Scott, to give away the missus's age there.
Yeah, I think that is true, and well, you just look at it's not everyone, but if you do look at the younger, some of these younger YouTubers, it doesn't have to be BookTube or whatever, in their teens and 20s, like there are huge amounts that are in the hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and it's like, how and why? There's and the thing is, I wonder, is there's probably some, but for BookTube, I don't know. Is there any BookTubers that are our age that have 100,000 or a couple 100,000?
No, I don't know. There might be. I don't know. I mean, Michael K. Vaughan, Criminoli, eventually, probably they'll get there. Steve Donahue, he's only 20, well, he's much younger than us, isn't he? So he might get there eventually. No, I don't
Like I
know.
know for a fact I'll just never ever get to those heights. But then again, when you say that, it's like look at Criminale, and you look at these other. All it takes is one video that somehow, like it's like whoever figures, and you can't figure it out. I don't think there's any way to figure out the YouTube algorithm. I think it's just hit or miss. You do something and it just skyrockets.
Yeah. No, I'm starting to feel the same, Scott, a little bit. I mean, I don't know how much longer you've been doing it than me. I mean, I'll be in my second year in March. I think I will have done 2 years. But yeah, it's just yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's a bit disconcerting, like when you see people who started after you, and you think to yourself, are they so much more interesting than me? Are they so much better than me? And it can knock your confidence a little bit. But of course, I do think a big part of it is luck, and I suppose it's also what you read. I mean, when you look at the ones who do perform well, it's very much those steeped in the genre fictions, the horrors, the sci-fis, the fantasies. These are generally the ones that do that tend to do well. You don't tend to see others necessarily. I don't know any, like, I might be wrong, but I don't know any like non-fiction booktube channels that have huge numbers of subscribers. I don't know.
Yeah, I've not come across any, but like the Starshot says, it is marketing. But sometimes, like I think with YouTube, a lot of that marketing is out of your hands because it's a weird thing. I've got one video. It was one of the first videos I did, and I think I got 8,000 views on it now, which is a lot for me. Like that's a huge amount for me, but that's over 2.5 years. But still, it's like, why? I like, all it is a video that I talk about 3 books that are about personal library, like that somebody has written a list of books to say this is what should be in your personal library, and they're old stuff from the 20s or even earlier. And why has that? And then I look at the other things of saying what people search for, and terms are personal library that they search for. So okay, fine. So I start putting personal library in a title for things, and it doesn't get the hits, even though it is about the personal library. It's just really weird. And then for a while, for some reason, my name for like 2 months was right at the top as the biggest search engine on Google. I mean, the search, or maybe on Yahoo, I guess, for search for me. How did that happen? Why are people searching for me?
I mean, it is interesting because, like, sorry to keep going back to Ollie. I'm sure he won't mind. I mean, good luck to him, of course. But that video he did, I think, is a turning point for him. When you see, I mean, it's just phenomenal, the amount of views. It's 150, 160,000 views on one video, and it wouldn't have been something I would have thought necessarily would be like a viral thing. I mean, it is, what is it, like my most disturbing book, or my most disturbing read?
Yeah, but you
Something
see,
like that.
once that happens, that's what I mean with it. You can only do so much marketing, and once that happens, then you're on everybody's feed. You're on
Yeah.
everybody's feed,
Yeah.
and if it
It
happens,
snowballs, doesn't it? Once
yeah,
that happens, it's like, it just breeds success, really.
well, it's like I'm struggling to get to 1,500, and I actually found on the thing that if I have had over 3,000 subscribers. There's a way of looking at this. So I have had more people subscribe and unsubscribe to me than I have subscribers at the moment.
Well, I mean, I was laughing in the fact that, you know, while I was not making videos, my subscribers were kind of edging up there, and then of course I make one, and they shot back down. So, oh, cool. Yeah, March Mystery Madness is great fun.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens. It's like Mark, you and I, when we did the Desert Island books. That you know, we just sort of realized that we had a lot of interest similar, except the science fiction. It was about the only real thing that was not, you know.
No, but the thing is, yeah, I mean, I don't know much about it, but I have an interest for sure. I mean, I have an interest in everything, even romance. If you know, Steve could convince me of something that might be worth my time reading.
Yeah, I am on TikTok, and I do get a lot more views for the shorts that I was doing, like the science fiction quickies, and but I don't know, I just stopped doing it. It didn't seem, I don't think it brought anything over, and I was doing that on Instagram as well. With their reels, but I don't really see it a flow over, a crossover, like people coming from one to the other. At least I don't notice it, but it doesn't hurt. But again, it takes time. It takes time to do all this kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, this is the right here is the great thing about the internet.
I'll be back. I just have to switch off the heating because it's starting to get very. I had to put it on today, so I'm still here.
Yeah, this is the great thing about the internet. Like I was quite prolific or whatever. I used Twitter a lot a number of years ago, like 7 or 8 years ago. And I had quite a huge following, and I got to know a lot of people, and I still am in contact with many people that I met on there, in a sense, because, you know, like really sort of niche interests and things where, you know, in my daily life, I'm never going to meet somebody that has an interest in it, you know. And books is another thing. Like, I think that's why a lot of people do booktube channels, because they, you know, their family or their friends, nobody's interested in books, or if they are, they're not interested in the books that they are. So there's no one to talk to about it. And that's, you know, and it is fun to talk to people about books, you know, and because otherwise, if you don't, you sort of, you become tunnel visioned, I think, of this is the only thing. And then all of a sudden, when you start talking to people like through this or Vox or the group, you get all these other opinions in, and you can disregard some. But the thing is, there's going to be many that go, oh, I never thought of that. That might change of what I think about this, you know, not that you accept it fully like some people do. Like I say, I think that's a dangerous road to go down, just to accept what other people say verbatim, but to discuss and, you know, critically look at it yourself, like in a critical thinking of saying, okay, well, how does that fit for me? Does it work for me? Yeah, March Mystery Madness was oh no, I was thinking of the something else. Sorry, I did do March Mystery Madness this year. I did the Asimov mysteries. And hello, Gareth. Yeah, I didn't say that either.
Hey, Gar. Gaza, what's up? You can't really, you can't really shorten Sean, can you?
No.
No.
People usually lengthen it to something else, and it's like, oh, please
He's
don't.
Johnny.
Oh yes, oh god, I hate that. I hate that. But where's, like, I saw that on the thing of Gaza, but I thought it was Gary that was for.
Yeah, but I think
these things always confuse me.
It is usually Gary, but I think it counts.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't think that quite works. I'm not sure because I'm not sure.
But I suppose we don't need to shorten your name. We can just continue to just get it wrong on every other YouTube channel going, right?
Yeah, the spelling of the first name and the pronunciation of the surname is always are mostly wrong. Let me scroll this back. I've been making BookTube videos for almost 6 years, and I have 150 some subscribers. And I don't focus on my subscriber count. I'm into posting videos because it's the way to share my reading. Yeah, that's a great way to do it. But sometimes it is nice to reach a little more at times. And I don't obsess over the subscriber list, but because if I did, 90% of what I do, I wouldn't be doing. I wouldn't put out the videos because they're definitely not getting the hits. Okay. I daily tune into BookTube to spend time with people who love books like me. No one around me likes to read or, heaven forbid, discuss books. Yeah. That's the thing. But it's like I say, when if people do look at BookTube or they hear about it, what do they get? Like, I wonder what happens. Like, what comes up first if you put in the search engine BookTube? I wonder who comes up.
What, on YouTube or on Google?
On YouTube or on either. I bet it'll be the ones that are hundreds of thousands or million subscribers who really don't do anything.
First person comes up, BookTube, is Books with Emily Fox.
Yeah, she's quite big.
Is she quite big, is she?
Yeah, but she is good. She is good.
Yeah, 111 subscribers she's got.
No, she's got more than 111.
111,000, sorry, 111,000. Second one, Jack Edwards. Well, a lot, I suppose.
Yeah,
yeah,
but,
1.13 million.
Yeah, so. Have you looked at him? I don't think this guy actually has read a book in his life, to be honest. But
anyway. Yeah, but now I'm annoyed because I've clicked on him. He's going to be popping up all the time in my suggestions.
Yeah, that can happen. Yeah,
but actually, number 4 in my list. But you see, that's how it could be. This could be doctored towards me. But number 4 on my list here with BookTube, I've got Books with Emily Fox, Jack Edwards, then Books with Emily Fox, and the number 4 is Michael K. Vaughan. So,
yeah, no, I agree with Gareth. Emily Fox is good, and despite that she's really big, she's one of the few, I think, that are big that actually reads books. He's got, what's this thumbnail game? I
don't know if that's Michael K. Vaughan or the guy who said's rubbish.
That's probably the one, the Edwards. But somebody did mention to me about changing your thumbnails. Like putting the thumbnail up and then see how it goes for a little while, and then put a new one up.
Thumbnail. I've completely forgotten about something. You just
I know. I was going to ask you about it, but that person has had 4 teeth out as well yesterday. So is same here. BookTube is great. Almost everyone around me doesn't read. Second I start talk about books, people fall asleep. Yeah, that's usually the way it is.
Well, sorry, Spectre. Did you say something? Or yeah, actually, I'm very lucky. Both my parents, quite avid readers. Still, my sister also reads, not as much as the three of us. Sorry, Claire, to kind of shame you there, but yeah, I mean, they're visiting me at the moment, and we can sit and talk about books and recommend books to each other. So that's really nice.
um, Brian did a thing on Jack Edwards. Well, what did he say? I'm gonna have to watch that. I
That's
can't
what
think
I
of
thought
anyone
he
I
did. He
like.
did small booktube review video, and then he's done this guy with 1.13 million subscribers.
Oh no, he's got a series. Is that you reading, or has he got it wrong? It's a small. He's the small booktuber reviewing a big booktuber.
All right.
That's I think what he started before, because he did Emily Fox. I think
Okay.
he said it was a good channel. Really?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't know how much we, like the same things these days. We seem to end up arguing in the comments about stuff, but so.
But yeah, and by the looks of it, Steve doesn't like this guy either. I think that's where I sort of heard him from, was Steve or something, and I don't remember anything of him saying. I just thought, oh, I'd take a look at this, because I think I popped in a live and all there was comments about this Jack Edwards, and I'm going, who the hell is that?
I mean, I think the biggest booktuber I watch is Steve regularly. I do like Olive for some things, definitely, and I do watch like her, for example, non-fiction recommendations and things that can be quite interesting for me. But I don't watch her as often as I should. But when it comes on a regular basis, I guess the biggest booktuber I watch on a regular basis is probably, as I say, Steve. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the
But who
thing
knows?
is,
Next week it could be Michael K. Vaughan, right? I mean, he's catching up. So
yeah, well, I think it's like people watch booktubers for various things. Like you're talking about, you'll get these older guys, panting over the young females that look good.
or maybe some of the older guys panting over the young males who look good.
Exactly. Well, that's what I mean. So that you'll have all this, but then you got other ones that are people are generally interested in what that person does. Or you go, okay, this person does some interesting stuff occasionally, but I find them annoying, or I find them this, I find them that, but I still watch them for certain things, because everybody has their own personal likes and dislikes.
I mean, the thing is, though, I mean, I don't think it's controversial to say it, but like, you know, Steve has a lot of experience, right? A lot of experience with books, and he's obviously going to be more experienced and more knowledgeable than a lot of these people who have the tens of thousands, hundreds
Yeah,
of thousands, or million or so subscribers. So just because you look at him and think, okay, he's, you know, somewhere north of 28 years old or whatever, not 21 years old, like some of these guys, if you really want to know about
yeah,
books and what you should read, he is obviously going to be somebody who's probably worth listening to, rather than someone who's only been reading adult books for probably 5 years. Yeah. And
yeah.
even
Well,
now, to be honest, they still haven't graduated from young adult books, a lot of them. So
yeah. No, I agree with you. That's where I was gonna sort of go on to, where despite but that's the thing. But there's people that will only watch people that are certain ilk or whatever. But are they really into books? That's the question. And somebody who's really into books will follow somebody or watch Steve, and like you say, there was one booktuber that this was a couple of years ago. I was flipping around, and I think she must have had close to 100,000 or something like that at the time. I don't even remember who she was, but she turned out to be like 17 or 18 years old. She looked like she was in her 20s. She's all dolled up. She you know, a really good looking young woman, and you know, she's like 17, I think, at the time. And you clearly, you know, you just think if somebody's 17, like you say, reading books for 5 years. If she was been reading adult books since she was 12, there's still not enough time to read a lot of stuff. But she was putting out videos like, you know, the best of this, the best of this, you know, and her like saying this is her opinion of what great literature is. And it's like, you haven't read enough, you know, to
That's
make
the thing. You cannot. I mean, you cannot
not your
function
fault.
in
Yeah.
life and catch up with someone like Steve if you're only 25 years old, right? You just wouldn't be able to do it. So the experience just isn't going to be there. I love it when he crops up always at the most the best moment.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You don't even need to watch it, I don't think, from beginning to the end. You know.
You know what? I'm just gonna prejudge him and not watch a single one of his videos. I'm just gonna decide. I'm gonna make a video about booktubers I am not gonna watch.
Well, that's that. Yeah, that would work. Look at any of his videos.
It's
and
the
then
same thing as making a video about authors you're not going to read when you haven't, tried them, or you're just going on. I'm just going to take Sean's word for it. This guy sucks, and I'm not going to watch his videos. It's the same. It's the same idea, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You have to, like Steve's saying, watch him and then make a decision yourself.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, and you know, like I do hesitate when I see these huge booktubers because you see the numbers that they have, and it's like the first was Emily Fox. You know, I'd come across her before, and I go, "Oh, it's kind of interesting." Doesn't really read too much stuff that I'm particularly interested in, but I know, but I had actually watched some of her videos. I actually subscribe to her, but I don't watch too much of her stuff all the way through because there's a lot of books that, or most of the stuff, doesn't really fit with my interest. But she does stuff well enough that I'm interested at times at people like that, at their opinions, what they think of books, how they came to books, especially if they're younger. And that's the one thing I really like is hearing somebody discovering something.
Well, for sure. I mean, I know if I'm going to see a book haul or whatever from you or Steve or Michael, whoever, I'm going to sit down with my little notepad and my pen ready because there's going to definitely be, a couple of things that are going to pique my interest. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen so much.
Get rid of Steve's videos for those. It's just
not going to happen so much with these, and often with these younger, extremely popular ones as well, you'll see the same things just doing the rounds, right? I mean, unless we're doing a group read together, it's not often we're going to repeat, the same books. That, you know what I mean? Because they're not a la mode, are they?
Yeah. And the thing that's sort of funny too is like, I haven't done it in quite a while, but my book to film type thing. And I remember coming across somebody else's new channel that seemed to grow pretty quickly, and they were sort of going, "Oh, I'm thinking of doing something called book to film." I don't think anybody's ever done this before, and you see hundreds and hundreds. I mean, literally hundreds of comments saying, "Oh, what a great idea!" Oh, and it's like, yeah.
I just misread Aaron's thing. I just saw the Bookish Brians. I used to watch his channel, and I went on. I was thinking, what did Scott do about the Wheel of Time that makes you want to go? You see, you're right. My brain's just mush.
Well, Well, that's the thing. It's like there's you. Let's just go back to science fiction here.
Yeah, I'm going to be the
Mark,
expert next year.
well, yeah, but that's what I mean. You haven't read that much, and it's like I would never say this this is the best thing and stuff like this. But it's like myself and Steve and I think Mark Richardson and stuff like Scott Daniels. Like there's a lot of booktubers that have read more science fiction. Well, Steve's probably read more than all of us, but what I mean is that there isn't that many that have read the number of books and to a lot of people, reading 400 or 500 books in one genre is a lot.
I don't think we can use the word reading when it comes to Steve. It's like a category on its own. We need to like perhaps develop a new verb to describe what Steve does. We read, he consumes, I suppose. I don't know, but yeah, it's probably a good point, Steve. I have to check him out now, of course.
But the thing is that reading 500 books of one genre is a lot of books. But and then you compare it to somebody else who's read 10,000, possibly. That's a bit different. And you see, like and then you get somebody like me that I think is a little different than a lot of people. I almost stopped reading science fiction, but I started reading about science fiction. I started reading the history of science fiction and the genre and about the authors, the magazines. I went into a different area that most readers of science fiction don't go, or not very often, I think.
But Steve
I'm not
mentions,
sure why I said that, but anyway.
Steve mentions the next comment there. Every major book prize wants on their judging panel, but I have to say I could give a monkey's fart, frankly, for how much importance I put on a lot of these book prizes these days. I used to love settling down, like we're talking the 90s here, to watch like the Booker Prize, shortlist announcement, the winner, whatever. I used to really enjoy that. We were at university, we would do that. And then it's just so, I don't know, political or so just, I don't know, it's rubbish. Is it? Yeah, I can't be doing with these prizes, to be honest. So it wouldn't matter to me.
Yeah. Well, you see,
I wouldn't think of it as an honor to be asked to be put on any of these judging panels, to be honest, these days.
You see, for me, the Hugo and Nebula Awards were always ones that I paid attention to. I may not like the book that much, but it would be something that I would say
Steve said major book prizes, though, Sean.
Those are major book prizes. No, the Hugo and Nebula Awards are major. But
where's the Hugo from? It's not Victor Hugo, is it?
No, Hugo Gernsback.
Oh yeah, the science fiction guy.
Yeah, that's why it's not being used anymore. But yeah, no, it's named after him. Yeah, but yeah, I used to think that, and then I started reading a couple winner. I don't know when that was. Sometime in maybe the late '80s or sometime in the '80s, and I go, these are not very good books, and so I just sort of left it. Philip Chase. I don't think I know who that is. I don't know who that is. It would be great, like if he's an academic in fantasy. I wonder if there's like, it'd be nice to have like an academic doing science. Well, maybe not. I was just gonna say science fiction. Sometimes the old school ones, yes, like if James Gunn or Mike Ashley did ones. I'd be raptured, by them, because they are ones that I think have something to say, because they know the genre. They know the genre. When I see other people talk about stuff, and you clearly realize they really don't know the genre. The reason they want the likes of Edwards is because the publishers can use brown envelope strategy to pick up the winner. Well, and advertising. He has 2 million subscribers. He makes 20,000 a month. 5 seconds of him enthusing about a book can quintuple his sales. All that influence. Yeah, I don't know who Philip Chase is.
That's incredible. 20,000 American dollars a month.
He probably has a lot of sponsors as well. I can't believe you could get even that off of just the AdSense. I don't think you could. I could be wrong.
His name's Elvis Starshot. Amazing.
But yeah, no, it's just, yeah, there's a few out there, and the weird thing is, what's it? Frida thinks Elvis looks like a needy loser.
It wasn't his attention thing. He has this weird kind of it's concern. If you notice there's a change in my breathing, or if I, for example, I don't know, stick my finger in my mouth or do something like that, he gets a little bit nervous. So he always comes to see that I'm okay. So,
yeah, I think to get well, it depends, I guess. I don't understand how this works, because yeah, the penny per view, it's weird.
0.1 of a penny.
Sorry?
0.01 of a penny.
Oh, 0.01. So I guess that's possible, yeah. But I find it weird, because I can have something that is the same length of time, and there'll be maybe 50p for the ads sets on it. Then I got something else that's the same size that has less views on it, and the length of viewing is the same as well, and it's got 10 times as that for the ad revenue, and I don't understand that. No, 1 penny.
Oh, 1 penny, yeah, 0.01 of a dollar. Yeah, sorry.
And that is really high. I need something like 20 or 30 views to get a penny on a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I say I don't quite understand it. I have heard of some video. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, Scott. Yeah, it's really weird how this works, and I don't understand it, and I don't think anybody does. I did see somebody who was a marketing expert that had, he was an older person, a video. It wasn't on YouTube, because they probably wouldn't allow it, but they were saying that it's YouTube does not say how it works, and there's he questions whether it's actually done fairly and equitable, the AdSense, because he says it makes no sense at all. It's called sense, but it makes no sense at all.
Yeah, ad nonsense. I don't know. Well, I think I'm gonna have to go to bed. It's catching up with me now.
Yeah. We'll be on. Yeah. thanks for everybody for coming on and the rambling
great
nature.
to see you. Great to see you all again. It's been too long. Hopefully, we're back to normal very, very soon.
It's always the new normal for me.
Well, I hope you'll be back to normal, real normal for you soon as well. So good night, everybody.
Bye, everybody.